Are you saying that members of Congress are basically prostitutes? That they're basically scared to death of the interest groups, scared to death of the people that buy their campaigns? What are you actually saying about the system?
I believe that Israel has a powerful stranglehold on the American government. They control both members of the House and the Senate. They have us involved in wars in which we have little or no interest. Our children are coming back in body bags. Our nation is bankrupt over these wars. And if you open your mouth, you get targeted. If they don't beat you at the poll, they'll put you in prison.
What you said was, quote, talking about Israel and, quote, Jewish people. They're controlling much of our foreign policy. They're influencing much of our domestic policy. What do you mean by that? Because that sounds to me like a bizarre conspiracy theory. Why would you say something like that when it's just, first of all, patently untrue?
Number one, I served in Congress for 17 years. I've seen members question bills and votes on how does Israel feel about this. I must have heard that every time there was a significant vote. And here's what I said, Chris. I said, I want to apologize to all the hookers in America for having associated them with the United States House of Representatives. Yeah, I think it's a big whorehouse.
Explain to me what you'd see as, why you target or why you have a grudge against the Israelis.
The grudge is not necessarily a grudge. It's an objective assessment that no one will have the courage to speak about. They're controlling much of our foreign policy. They're influencing much of our domestic policy. Wolfowitz, as Undersecretary of Defense, manipulated President Bush #2 back into Iraq. They pushed definitely to try and get Bush before he left to move into Iran. We're conducting expansionist policy of Israel. Everybody's afraid to say it. They control much of the media. They control much of the commerce of the country. And they control powerfully both bodies of the Congress. They own the Congress.
Are you an anti-Semite? Are you an anti-Semite? Anti-Semite?
Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it.
Finally, I was the number one target of the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee. And let me tell you something. People are scared to death in Washington to say what's wrong with the country. Because if you rile some big people, you're done. They're more concerned with perpetuity than what's good for the country. The country's going to hell in a handbasket, Chris. Well, let's talk about a very serious problem. But Israel, through its lobby, has manifested so much power over the United States Congress that we're embroiled in wars that I don't believe we should be. Our kids are coming back in body bags. And in the long run, this Israeli lobby is going to hurt Israel. So as soon as you mention Israel, someone claims you're an anti-Semite. The truth of the matter is,
that's not what happened.
American, Sean. I don't like, hear me. I don't like what's happening in America today.
That's fair.
Our kids are coming back in body bags.
Wait a minute, but you're saying
we're bankrupt, completely broke.
Now look, Israel's used us like a whore over there. And the Arab people over there hate America. It's just a matter of time till our policies started to import these tragedies.
Our policies in the Mideast have been so one-sided and subjective. Without objectivity, we've created so many enemies. The only way they can strike back is we've imported the terrorists from those actions.
Wait a minute.
So if you question it, you're saying you're an anti-Semite.
That's not what you said. You said they're controlling our foreign policy. They're controlling our domestic policy.
Yes, and I believe they are.
Hear me now.
I believe they control the Senate and the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
That's insane.
And they're controlling our foreign policy. I'm saying we should be objective. We have developed serious enemies from a one-sided policy. And yes, I believe Israel, through their lobby, has manifested total power of the Congress of the United States.
Power.
And my concern is that taxpayers and the citizens of the United States should control their government, not a foreign entity.
To suggest, as you're doing here tonight, that they control our Congress, that, quote, they are influencing and the sole control of influencing of our domestic policy is an absurdity. It sounds like you are a kook.
Sean, I'm not suggesting it. I'm telling it. Yes, I believe they manifest a great power over America. Let me also say, in the last 4 years, there are 2 separate incidents of AIPAC spying on America. We even conducted a search warrant on AIPAC headquarters. Now, I don't like what's going on here. All I'm telling you is, I'm concerned about America. You and I might disagree. I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm not against Israel. If Israel's attacked, I'm the first one to want to support them. But what I'm saying to you is this power that's being manifest on our Congress is going to backfire and it's going to end up in the long run hurting Israel, because the American people are getting about fed up with this government.
One last shot at this. Will you back down from, quote, they are controlling much, meaning the Israelis, they are controlling much of our foreign policy. Will you back off that statement?
No, I don't.
When I made that statement, you didn't see me on TV no more. Now, let's just think about how powerful they are. Look at all the talk show hosts. Some are very conservative, some are very liberal. They're diametrically opposed on every issue, but they all sing out of the same hymn book on Israel because they control our government. They control our media. They control the finances of this country. And I'm not anti-Semite. I'm not against Israel. I think Israel, in their aggressiveness, is going to end up hurting their country in the long run. But America has gone too far now. We haven't been objective in the Mideast. We've invited and we have in fact imported terrorism to our shores over our policies. But the bottom line is, no one's dealing with the problems, Chris, because if you deal with the problems, the real problems in America, you get targeted. And you know what I'm talking